Welcome back to Dad's Foxbody Garage. In this episode, we're going to talk about line lock on your Foxbody Mustang. So, not going to be a tutorial how-to because it's already done. A buddy of mine came over yesterday and we spent a good part of the day putting a line lock on the old stormtrooper here. So, what I'm going to do now is just kind of walk you through how we did it. It's probably not the right way to do it. It's obviously not the wrong way to do it because it works. Made a bigger project out of it than we could have because I did replace the master cylinder as well because it was the original master cylinder on here. And just kind of bring you up to speed on like what I learned, so hopefully you can avoid some of the problems we ran into. So I'll spin you around here, and as you can see, here's our master cylinder. It's nice, shiny, new. And then there's our distribution block down here, and then our line lock we actually mounted in the back here. So one of the problems we encountered was, one big problem we encountered was the kit I bought off eBay, which I will put a link to here, came with no directions whatsoever. Luckily, it was a clone, if not the same exact thing as your Hurst line lock. So there's plenty of information out there on that. And I mean, everything in the pictures are identical from one to the other. Housings, the little buttons, everything. So by watching that, of course, we ignored some of it and it ended up, biting us in the butt afterwards. But we thought we could just disconnect some brake lines and hook it up to the solenoid there and rock and roll. Well, no, not the case. The flares are actually different from factory to what you do on the car or what you do on the line lock. The flares that come on the car, not to mention the nuts are different thread and all that good stuff, but they actually have like a cone to them, I'll say like a male cone on the end of the line versus your typical double flare from, a brake line flaring kit. So the kit is set up to receive the standard brake line double flare, and we thought we could just use the existing coned flare, so to speak, and just screw the fittings right in and go, but there's no way that would have sealed. So you do have to end up cutting your flared ends off. A couple of them, I think it was, let's see here, I think it was your both rear lines, which are on the lower level here. Those are your out. The one that goes in the top of your solenoid, I don't know if you can see your solenoid, but this is what I made up. That's your feed that comes right off of your distribution block here. So it goes out the bottom. I just looped it up and looped it around to go right in the top feed. And then for the wiring, I just popped a hole in the diaphragm where the steering column goes through. There's a big rubber diaphragm there. I just popped a hole in there. I wasn't going to drill holes or fish wires through the floor or any of that stuff for the control and the power source. So I did run the power source a little bit different than the Hurst website says. They say go right off of your starter solenoid for a positive, but I came off a fusible link inside the car. I don't want anything to be on all the time. I know the wire they did give you was fused, but so it has two fuses now. So not such a big deal, right? So what else? Had to bleed. Ended up bleeding front and rear, obviously, because we did the master cylinder And taking the master cylinder off did make things a lot easier. You know, there was a lot more room for activities up in this area without that master cylinder there. And that was just from, you know, NPD. Relatively cheap. My old one, it's kind of nasty, and fluid need change and all that stuff. So we took that opportunity to bleed all the lines until we saw good fluid coming out. Actually found out that the passenger side rear, I took the bleeder right out, and my buddy was pumping the brake, and we were getting no fluid out of it. And the bleeder itself was plugged. So after we went back to the driver's side and he started pumping that, I actually heard the passenger side break free, and I could hear the brake shoe squeaking on the back of the plate. Went over to that side again and did get that to bleed out. So that was good, but you know, we're going to keep an eye on that and make sure we don't have any leaks, because if it wasn't working, you know, that's a good possibility that maybe there's a problem back there. But everything works great. I will insert a video somewhere in the clip here if I can of it working. But the install was pretty pain-free. It did take some time to get that all done. The inside of the car, not crazy about the little black and red wire there you see by the shifter. I'll probably wrap that or put a small heat shrink tube on that. But everything tucks away underneath the carpet all the way up to where it entered in the front of the car, or the engine compartment. So a lot of fun. Like I said, it was a good day. I guess every day in the shop is a good day, especially when you got one of your oldest friends with you. So had a great time. Car's running well. I know a while back I told everyone on Facebook that I was doing a valve cover gasket change because I thought it was a rear main. Ended up being the valve covers were just like hemorrhaging oil. So that seems to have slowed. There's still a little bit of a leak somewhere. I think it might be the back of the intake, of course. You know, you're never done fixing leaks. But I think she's ready right now to go to drag and drive. We were thinking about doing some exhaust cutouts, and we'll see how far my buddy gets with those. He was going to fab up some block off plates so we could have open exhaust at the strip. But yeah, she's ready for the street now. Now you need to turn our attention to Calypso. Trying to get a thinner air cleaner. The engine wasn't sitting level in here ever since I put it together. And I don't know why. I replaced mounts multiple times. The only thing I can think of is maybe there's some damage to this driver's side frame rail where the car is actually twisted, or maybe the engine twisted the frame. I don't know. But I wanted to level the engine before I start building the hood we have here, which we're not going to abandon that project, don't worry. I just want to start driving the car, so I put this one back on. But since I leveled it, I shimmed up that passenger side engine mount. My air cleaner hits the hood now, so have to get a smaller element. My buddy Paul at New 5 is going to have that on Tuesday. So hopefully I can get that all put back together. But that also brought up another issue I have. By tilting the motor just, I think it was a half an inch, I am now hitting my steering knuckle there, or joint, or whatever you want to call that. It's like a little U-joint back there. You can see it looks like it's touching right now on the header. And I really don't want to bash my headers in. So I may see if I can just clearance the corners on that a little bit with a grinder. I don't know if I can get down in there. Maybe with like a little 2-inch hardback on an air grinder or something. But again, not a lot of room for activities there. And it's not like the car doesn't steer, because you know I've taken it out a couple times, but I can feel it. You know, when you turn it around, whenever it hits, you can tink, tink, it's just annoying, and I don't want it to get worse. Like, say something happens where, it locks up the steering. That would make for a bad day. So really want to get that fixed before I really start cruising Stormtrooper around anyways. But Stormtrooper's running good, all except for that. And the McLeod hydraulic cylinder on here. I don't know if you guys saw that. The slave cylinder on there works really well. Maybe a little too well. Might be disengaging the clutch a lot because I seem to get a little rattle. Like when I start to engage the clutch, I get that little bit of a clutch rattle in there, which I'm hoping goes away as I get the clutch broken in. Oh, one other thing. Anybody out there that does have one of these blowers, maybe they can help me with. The front gearbox on these things, as they get warm, after you get driving for a while, though, everything gets warm in there, from the gears meshing, and actually creates pressure inside that housing as the oil and the air and everything expands, and it creates a leak on the intake manifold. Now, it's very common from what I read online, but I haven't read online is how people get around it. What do you do to make this not happen? Because cleaning that intake is a pain in the butt. Unless you got like 1-inch diameter Q-tips you can fit down in there to clean it, I don't know how you're going to get that oil out of there. And I don't really want to be pushing the oil out of something and run out of oil. So I tried to come up with a vent system with a brass fitting there, and I was going to run it over to my old catch can just to try to give the pressure someplace to go. But that created another problem because oil will sling in there, and again, it's not that much oil, but it was slinging it out of that little fitting there before I put the hose on. And again, I don't want to lose my oil. So anybody out there that's got an idea, like maybe some kind of like a filter of some sort, like one of those porous brass plugs like you see on Mac valves or something, maybe that would do the trick, so the oil wouldn't just sling out, but I'd still get a little bit of ventilation to relieve that pressure in there. Again, there's lots of them online that say they've had similar problems, but I can't find one that says they've fixed it. They just live with an oily intake. And it's not crazy. It's at the end of the year, I've probably lost, I'd say, probably a good tablespoon of oil out of the front of that. But, it doesn't hold that much. It probably only holds, if I were to guess, half a quart. But so it's not like it's running dry. I'd like to fix something, because I don't like oily mess. So anyway, a lot of me rambling on here. Next projects on the board are going to be on Calypso with the steering. Still need to do the water pump gaskets for the back plate of the water pump, because that's been leaking since I put it together and just ignored it and drove it. Just because, who wants to do a water pump right after you put it back on? So we're probably going to switch spots in the garage here over the next week and start taking that apart, drain the antifreeze out of it again. Might as well save it this time because it's brand new. And start working on Calypso. But just wanted to say thanks for everybody watching, and we will get back onto our engine build series over here as well with our Lightning motor that's going to end up going back into one of these cars, which I'm thinking it's going to be the white one. At least I'll say that this week. Really disliked messing around with all the stock wiring, factory fuel injection. Yeah, it works and it's factory and all that, but man, I just love the simplicity of working on Calypso, and if I don't like it, why do it, right? So we'll probably end up maybe next year doing a motor swap with the top loader and a 351 and the Stormtrooper here. So and NA, just no blower, not until I can get a Vortec or Torque Storm or something like that, because I want to keep everything under the hood on this one. Make it a really nice driver and not crazy rowdy like Calypso. That's what Calypso does best. So thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. Send me messages, ask questions. All helps that crazy algorithm, and we'll see you on the next one.